Hello everyone, Daniel J. Pizarro, P-I-Z-A-R-R-O, Buffalo Fire Commissioner. Behind us we have 651 Broadway, St. Anne's Church. The fire started in the rear of the church in a step down that was built after the church. Crews did a good job on containing fire for the most part to the rear of the building. It was completely out of the rectory in the beginning, or the three side of the building, which is the rear of the building. And the fire had extended just a bit into the church. The crews did a good job aggressively attacking the fire. And at that point, Incident Command had decided to withdraw all of the units and go defensive and operate in a defensive posture, which ended up in a 3-alarm fire. At that point, the fire was contained to the rear of the church. It did not enter the rectory at all. And currently we have units in the building right now. They are assessing the conditions and the stability of the building.
Commissioner, any idea if any part of it needs to be demolished after this fire, or what's the condition of the building itself?
Not yet. The building itself, the church itself, from what I know, is stable and it is sturdy. The step down, the 1-story cement step down with the wood roof, that one is under further investigation now. We're going to determine what we need to do with that.
Is any part of this suspicious to you? I mean, we were just here 6 months ago for a fire at the same address.
Yes, we've been here a few times since and before with squatters, with people living inside. What I can confirm is that there was a makeshift bed right at the entrance of that rear structure that the fire started in. And we do have some persons of interest that were seen leaving the scene. But that does not conclude any type of arson. We have confirmed that there has been people in this building prior that have lived there. The building was secured by the property owner prior to our arrival, but when we arrived here, there were some boards that were ripped off the window. So we can confirm that there are no utilities. The utilities were cut off. So there is a human element involved. Whether or not that was intentional or not, that is yet to be determined.
Commissioner, any frustration? I mean, to the point, 6 months and a day ago, there was that massive multi-alarm fire at the school. Since then, there's been debate like who should take care of this. Should the city step in? The owner's properly stabilizing it. And regardless of the politics of that, your crews had to come out here again today and make sure that this didn't escalate into another massive issue. Is there any frustration, that this property has become a nuisance?
Frustration is not the word I would use. I know when it comes to us, as far as the fire department, we show up no matter what the weather is, no matter what the climate is, and no matter what the posture is regarding the building and its owner. What I could tell you is that the crews did an amazing job, as they always do. They were motivated to be here, and because of that and the aggressive firefighting of the Buffalo Fire crews, we were able to contain it to that structure and the structure of the church right behind it. But to answer your question, frustration is not the word, but we are working collaboratively. The administration is working collaboratively with the property owner to come up with a viable solution.
Any other questions?
Is any part of this a strain on the department to continually come out to the same address?
Strain, if you would use the word strain, it would be after a second alarm. In this case, it was a temporary third alarm, which is a tremendous pull on resources in the department. But our incident commanders are very astute at picking up any companies that aren't being used. So it went to a third alarm as precautionary, but units were quickly dispersed at that point, and it went down to a 1 alarm plus, perhaps maybe even a 2 alarm. So the strain was minute, but at that point we did activate a few reserve rigs in the city, so there was proper coverage throughout the city.
Any estimate on cost for damages at this point?
Not yet. We still have to perform an extensive investigation.
And no injuries for firefighters or any of the people who were inside?
Correct. No injuries, civilian and firefighter side.
What happens next in terms of stabilization? Because to your point, the owner allegedly had boarded part of it up, but somebody must have taken boards down. I mean, how can you make sure this gets stabilized tonight so that you don't have another call at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, the administration is going to work closely with the building owner, at least tonight, to make sure that the surrounding area is secure. That's going to be jersey barriers, that's going to be fences. As we go on and we assess the building for collapse damage, we will at least make sure that we have a collapse perimeter set up, which will be 1.5 times the height of the building. At that point, we will do an extensive investigation inside to determine the integrity of the building.
the church itself, I mean, I'm looking at gaps in windows, gaps in the roof. I mean, is your crew going through the whole church right now, just looking at the stability of that building?
Yes. So we have 3 areas of concern. First one is going to be obviously the actual impingement of flame. It's going to be the smoke damage, and then it's going to be the heat. These types of old churches are built of heavy timber. It takes a lot of fire, a lot of heat, and a prolonged duration of that exposure for these buildings to actually become a hazard. Again, the crews did an outstanding job making sure that didn't happen.
With the air quality the way it is, what kind of challenges would that present for you guys?
For the firefighting, so outside of the building, yes. When it comes to defensive posture, the air quality right now, last I checked, the AQI was around 260, which is actually considered unhealthy. But you got to remember, our interior crews, they're on self-contained breathing apparatus. So at that point, the crews that are interior are isolated. On the outside, there wasn't too much of a concern. But we did have, if you look behind me, we do have a mass casualty incident rig, which is basically used for rehab. We are able to remotely monitor our firefighters to see if there's any prolonged injury or sustained injury, including respiratory damage.
Anybody else? All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Commissioner.
you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.